Welcome to Real Deal Meetup, Guru Interviews. In every episode, we interview top real estate investors and entrepreneurs across the globe. Listen and learn to earn with insider tips, tactics, and strategies to bring real dealer success into your life. Here to show you how is your host, investor, published author, educator, and fellow Guru, Clifton McKnight.
Well, good day. Welcome to Guru Interviews. Clifton McKnight here saying you're about to embark on a journey where you will hear from not gurus, not people who did it a long time ago and now they're selling their wares at astronomical prices, but guru interviews from people who are actively building their real estate enterprises as we speak. People like you and me, who've come into this in this world with challenge and taking our own finances by storm. We have with us today Brittany Bowling out of the Baltimore, Maryland area, who's going to share with you some of her insights and challenges and successes too. Hello, Brittany. How are you today?
Hello, Clifton. I'm doing pretty good.
Oh, you're being very modest here. I'm hearing that you're doing magnificent things. So tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe where you were before you embarked on this journey.
Okay, well, I basically first found out about real estate investing in 2010 after a friend of mine recommended I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I read it, and it basically kind of opened my eyes to something that I could do and be able to take care of myself, basically make money, but not have to work a job. Mm-hmm. At that point in my life, I had been from job to job in and out of community college, just really not sure what I really wanted to do with my life. I had just had my daughter. She was almost a year old at the time, and I was 23. So I was really, really unsure of what I wanted to do with my life. And when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I was kind of amazed, like, wow, people can really not be born into wealth and create it for themselves. Because before that, I really had no idea that it could happen for just anybody. So that really opened up to my, just opened my eyes up to a world I had no idea about. And what I did was I just went on a search and started going on the internet, looking up, one of the first techniques they told you about that was the easiest to get started in, which was wholesaling. And I just read everything, like over a summer. I read everything, every book I could find on it, any videos. And in 2010, it wasn't as much information. I mean, it was a lot of information, but not as much as flooded on the internet as it is now. So I really, I had a couple resources that I could go to, not like, how much it is out there. I went to, Bigger Pockets was out back then. Marcel Humphrey, Ned Carey, I read a lot of his stuff. And, of course, The Real Deal. So I went to, those sources for information for like a whole summer and just kept reading and reading and reading. And then once you find out, then you have to find out that, you have to take action. So that's basically what I did that September 2010.
Yeah, well, fabulous. And you mentioned the real deal at the end, and you said wholesaling. Now, we have people at various levels enjoying the show and listening to you every word that you're imparting on us. What for you, what defines wholesaling? What does that really mean?
For me, it means going out there, finding deals that are exclusive, something that's off market, but something where it's a win-win situation for everybody. That's the way I look at it. It's a win-win situation for the homeowner, for the wholesaler, and the rehabber. And that's basically one of the most important concepts that I kind of developed as doing this. Like, this has to be fair for the owner, for me, and for the rehabber.
Okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, what you're doing is you're going out and you're looking for people who are in need to sell their home, and you provide them with the means of getting it sold quickly because you have a great resource of buyers, and as a result, you share you share in the profits a little bit.
Exactly right.
Okay, wonderful. So you as you mentioned, you said you just had a daughter, but you have two children now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how do you do it? How can you go out there and, find all these people and send them? Because it sounds like you're doing pretty good, at least from what I've heard about you. Maybe you want to share a little bit about that too. How are you doing?
Well, yeah, sure, absolutely.
How you're doing it and how
well,
are you? Yeah.
well, first, let me give you a little backstory so it'll kind of help, I guess, you and the audience be able to understand it better. From now to 2010, I went through a lot of ups and downs in real estate. I definitely went through the phase where, I didn't think this was going to work for me, and I would stop, but then it wouldn't go away. And I would still get emails, and I would still see people out there doing deals, and I would just be like, okay, I'll give it another shot. And then I think I quit like one other time in 2012, where I was kind of trying to do everything: lease options, owner financing, REO, bulk deals. I was trying to do every single thing, and it wasn't getting me anywhere. I was just spinning my wheels. So in January 2013, I made a vow or a oath or pact to myself that I would not quit, no matter how long it took, no matter what I had to do. So from there, I found out about internet marketing. And I found a guy named David Corbley. He had a course on how to do internet marketing, but it was geared towards real estate. So that made it easier for me to learn about SEO and optimization, video marketing, and things of that nature, because not only was it teaching me internet marketing, but it was teaching me with how to do it for real estate, which was something very unique and really, easy tutorials to follow. Let's see, around August, September, I found out that I was expecting my second child, and I was working for a company called Vocus in Beltsville, Maryland, and it was a situation where I was like, okay, I'm about to have another child. I need to make this work, and it kind of went from there. And I was pregnant, but I would still go out and look at deals and do deals, and my website was generating leads slowly. It didn't just start off with a bunch of phone calls. It started off with literally one lead here, and then two, and then three, and then it finally grew when I was about 7 or 8 months pregnant, and it grew to the point where I couldn't handle it by myself anymore, especially being almost full term, about to deliver now. So I reached out to. Well, two wholesalers had reached out to me. They're out of the Perry Hall area, and we went out and had lunch. And I told them, and they knew, they obviously knew about my situation. And basically, they really, I mainly joint venture with these two because we've built a relationship over the past year. And basically, I was getting so many leads that they would handle the leads, and and we would talk about getting properties under contract together, and we just closed a bunch of deals this year by just me sending them leads because I could not handle them by myself. And
Wow.
yeah, so that's how that ended up working. And I've done JV deals with some other wholesalers as well, but there are two primarily I deal with. And since I was able to focus on them two, I was able to just send them leads, and we built such a great relationship. There was a lot of trust, and I didn't have to really worry about it, really.
And I think relationship is just pinnacle. I have to agree with you. When someone, you've met one another, you have each other's best interest at heart. The concept of win-win is real. You're not worried about having to chase somebody down and make sure that they follow through with what they're committed to. I absolutely understand and agree with you there.
Your audio recipe for real estate success. www.duruinterview.com.
So you have developed a system for finding the deals. You turn over that information to a team of individuals, a couple of them primarily, but a couple of others every so often, and they go out and secure the contract with the tenant and with the seller, and then bring that possible buyer to it, and you split the proceeds. That sound right?
Yep, that sounds exactly right. Yep.
Well, how has it worked for you? Go ahead.
It's been amazing. Of course, everything comes with its challenges and issues that we're still working on, that we're to build a better business. But it's been amazing, to go through what I was, going through at that time of, literally having, a baby and still, being able to close deals because we've built such a trusting relationship. I mean, they basically wanted to get into wholesaling full time. I had more leads than I can handle. I mean, my phone, Clifton, it was crazy. Like, of course, as a woman, women who have children will probably understand this, but even as a man, you can imagine, I'm 9 months pregnant and my phone is literally ringing off the hook, and it's to the point where I don't want to answer it because I can't, I can't handle the leads, and with my son, he came 2 weeks early, so I really had to scramble. At the time, my goal was to try to get the business automated before I had my son.
Yes.
And it was hard. I didn't realize putting together an automation system was so hard. And I tried to get a coach, and I read everything, but it wasn't as easy as I expected, and I ran out of time. So I was like, listen, guys, I'm going to send you everything I got because I'm, in the hospital, and I can't do anything from here. So they handled everything, and they were diligent. They were trustworthy. They updated me with everything, and they were good wholesalers. So, I didn't really need to go out and JV with a bunch of people because we had built such a almost like a partnership with each other.
Yes. I call them situational partnerships or joint or JV partnerships. That's really excellent. Now, I know the question that the listening audience is really trying to hear is, tell us a little bit about what you made. I mean, I've heard successes, I've heard numbers, but let's hear from you sort of how it's been over the past, say, 3-4 months in terms of your earnings. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, 3-4 months. It's been up and then down. So basically, in November, in September I had a really big month, but in November it really blew that month out of the water. In September we closed 6 deals, and I made about $28,000 that month.
Wow.
And that was one deal was all to myself, and then I JV'd the rest. Mm-hmm. In December, Christmas, the holidays, the market really slowed down. I think I only closed 1 deal. I made about $1,500. And in January, this was a kind of a unique deal, a first time doing something like this. Basically, I had signed a deal to a rehabber, but I didn't get an assignment fee because we weren't really sure of the numbers, and it was a tight deal, but he was going to close on it. So I was like, okay. And then what we did was he cleaned out the property, listed it on MLS, and then we split the profit from whatever it sold on MLS. So I made about $12,000 Wednesday.
Oh,
so that was the first deal of the new year.
Congratulations. And, I just realized that's a sort of a person I'm glad you were comfortable with sharing a little bit. That helps the listening audience to realize that not only is it possible, but big things are possible. So the question,
right.
Yeah, no, the question everybody's going to want to know is, how did you say you did that? How is it that you have so many people contacting you now?
My website. I started working on my website in the summer of 2013, and I had no idea that it was going to, create this amount of attention or traffic. I mean, that's what I had intended it to do, but I didn't expect for it to go like this. And basically, I'm a customer of On Carrot, and they help a lot with the content. And I learned, I've learned, great ideas from Charles since I've been working with him as far as SEO and optimization, and from him and reading on my own. So I've been able to sustain my website at the top of Google, or at least in the top 5 of Google over the past year, which has generated me a lot of leads, and to the point where I didn't really have to do any other marketing. But I'm not going to, stick with that. I am going to do other marketing now. Because just like with any other marketing, it can dry up, it can slow down, it can speed back up. The internet is one of those situations where it's not impossible to control, but it is a little bit more. You don't have as much control as you do with direct mail, bandit signs, where that is your total control.
Okay. But now you say you mentioned that you said your website is on Carrot, and
that's the service. Right? Yeah, that's the service that I use. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you got a lot of information on SEO from the mad scientist Charles Blair, who the Guru King. Then you mentioned another source there. I don't remember what it was.
Another source would be his name is David Corbley. He's like out in Washington State. He's really far off, but he's really been great. And I look to these are my like top three as far as internet marketing and real estate, because these are the only people, the only investors, and I could be wrong, but that I've seen where they've mixed the two, where they've mixed real estate with internet marketing and have been greatly successful at it in their own ways, and have gone on to become millionaires, each and every one of them. I look up to all of them with great, admiration, and, really hope to be like those top. These are like the top guys to me in the business.
Yes.
And definitely Charles, coming from where I come from in Baltimore, I always look to him for his guidance and things like that. And then the other sources that I found before I started working with Charles.
Man, I'll tell you, one of the things that excites me is that access. We attend that Real Deal meetups every fourth Saturday. I think this is the last. We'll probably be in the Towson Marriott in February, but we just had some exciting things. He mentioned in the last session that you're not just in the real estate business. You're in the marketing business. And he proceeded to tell us how to get on the first page of Google and how to continue to keep our rankings where they need to be to get those leads that you're talking about. And I guess I wanted to hear that from you, that in essence, you got a lot of that good information right here from this guru, Charles Blair. That's a very good to hear that from you. Now, I've got to tell you, we're at a segment now. I've got a few questions that I ask everyone who we interview.
Real dealers. It's time to play Real Rapid Success.
What helped you, if there was one thing that you can say that helped you to get going, what would that be, given the failures and the attitude of that you were going to give up and all of that? What got you through? What got you going?
This is, a lot of people don't really know this about me, so I'm definitely going to share this because I think it can help a lot of people out there. When I made that vow to myself in 2013 not to quit, I still was going through issues. I still was trying to market but not closing any deals. I still would get upset, down, really upset because I really did not want to quit, but I was becoming very frustrated. So I was saying to myself, like, I know real estate at this point. I know how to do the RARV. I know how to do comps. Like, what is the issue? It had to be something else. And I realized that the issue had to be myself. So before I went out there and found a real estate investing coach, I found just a business coach, somebody who could help me with my mindset, because that was the thing that was stopping me. Real estate itself isn't really difficult to understand. If especially there's formulas, there's a ton of information out there. I think it's more so people's mindsets that really block them from where they truly want to be. And I did her coaching for about 3 months. She was a new business coach. She wasn't somebody very expensive, and I think that's been a misconception. People think when you get a coach, you have to get the top. You have to go to Donald Trump and Tony Robbins and things like that.
And then pay a whole bunch of money, right?
Exactly. People who are out of your outrange, and people, honestly, that you're never going to talk to. You're talking to people that they hire. So. Right. And I tell people this, that, you can find a coach who's in your price range, because there are people out there who are trying to get their businesses started. So they can't charge $20,000 out the gate if they only been doing it for a year or two. But they've studied and they can help you, and then you can help them by being a success story for them. So, I looked to her, and she told me what my issue was, and it had nothing to do with real estate. I had a negative mindset. I didn't really believe in myself too much, and I had to change all of that before I would ever get to any type of success.
Hey, wow.
Yeah.
We're going to have you back because these other questions are important. That's a nice vein. What would you say was your favorite book or video or learning tool?
Most recently, I just finished reading this because I'm constantly working on my mindset. It is a never-ending, I don't want to say battle. I don't want to really look at that, but it's a never-ending journey, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So my most favorite book recently has definitely been The Motivation Manifesto by Brendan Bouchard. Excuse me if I messed up that last name, but
Yeah, Brandon Bouchard. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that book has been a phenomenal change in my life, and I'm just talking in the past few weeks. Like, literally, I got that book a few days before Christmas, and I've already made huge changes in my life from Christmas until then that are going to take me to the next level. And that's what I've realized. Like, it's just, when they say success is a journey, it really, really is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And at first, I didn't really look at it that way because you hear about the huge successes, the overnight successes so much with the media, but that's not the story for everybody. And
Right.
with children, in my situation, it definitely wasn't a story for me. But that's okay,
Listen, I think that's
So,
the case for most people. There's Ray Charles said, I spent a year in Georgia one night, and so sometimes things feel like it might happen overnight, but boy, it's still a journey, no matter how quickly it happens.
Right.
So, what would you say your favorite online resource is? You have an online resource that is a go-to, and that could be for either learning or for marketing.
I have two, and the first one is going to sound crazy, but honestly, Facebook has been phenomenal for me. Like, it's where I found everything. It's where I found the course to get me started in real estate. It's where I found out about the online marketing. It's where I found Charles, or was able to contact him directly through Facebook. Facebook can be a huge resource if you kind of filter through all the mess. And once you filter through all of that, and really, there are people out there who I've never met in real life but have been a tremendous help and have been my biggest supporters, more than people I've known my whole life.
Wow.
And yeah, Facebook has been, and I had to ask myself, am I addicted to Facebook? And it comes with reason. It's been such a huge change. I don't have no idea what my business, not to say that I wouldn't be successful without it, but it has been a huge influence. So Facebook, and also I would say Bigger Pockets, their blog is really great information, and also the Real Deal meetups. When you're talking about in Baltimore and networking, those meetups have given the most content information for free I've ever seen.
Wow, I agree with you on that one. And I'll tell you, we have a couple of other quick ones. We'll try to squeeze them in. We're a little bit over time, but it's a beautiful, a beautiful day in the neighborhood when you can give such quality information here. Is there a valuable a lesson that you've learned from a major or minor setback that you'd like to share?
Yes. I have two. One, I always want to give an example, like with, kind of with your mindset and then also with the business, because they go hand in hand so much. When I first left my job last year, November 2013, I was working, doing some work for a landlord. And basically, I was looking to him like a mentor, because he had a lot of properties, he made a lot of money. And one thing I had to learn was that just because somebody makes a lot of money doesn't mean it guarantees them, happiness.
Right.
And I had to, because, when you grow up, I didn't grow up necessarily poor, but, I grew up in the middle class, and I didn't know anybody rich, never met anybody rich, had no idea how the rich interacted or how they were. When I got into real estate, I was very intimidated, very nervous talking to people who had success. It was very uncomfortable. So, but when I found somebody who would kind of talk to me back, I kind of like clung to them, regardless of their personality. And I realized you can't do that, because everybody who has money doesn't mean they're a good person, doesn't mean that they're happy.
Wow.
So that was one huge lesson that I learned. And
valuable. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, Save. I know you got some more, but I'll tell you what, folks,
Okay.
you don't have to tell folks where they can find you. But the last question is your best advice for someone just getting started or looking to get that next deal in. It could be on how to get their first deal or just a general statement.
If somebody's trying to get their first deal, maybe somebody's working full time, doesn't have a huge marketing budget, I will honestly say look for sale by owners, but not just any for sale by owners. For sale by owners where, there is, a sale by owner that's motivated, somebody that's, willing to take a chance and willing to work with you. Because straight out the gate, you're not going to, you may not sound, you're still going to show, you're nervous a little bit. And this is just my experience. Some other people can go out there and rock and roll, but if there's anybody, somebody might be starting out like me, and they're nervous and they're unsure and they're kind of starting over their words. If you find somebody that's motivated, that's for sale by owner, they'll work with you. And if you can find those on Craigslist, Zillow, for salebyowner.com, just start cold calling those people and work on getting your deal or the contract, and then everything else will kind of take its course. You'll learn about marketing and budgets and things like that.
Yeah, you said Craigslist, Zillow, and what else?
Craigslist, Zillow, all those sites. Craigslist, Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, all those places have a filter where you can just look at for sale by owners.
Oh, okay.
And most of those, you can find a phone number. Or even if you ride around, my first deal that I closed, I had closed the deal like 2011, but then I quit. But so when I got back into it in 2013, it was a for sale by owner, and I found it driving around and saw the sign in her window.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Closing that deal.
Listen, what a wealth of information, Brittany. I want to thank you very much for joining us today. We've heard from Brittany Bowling giving you some great insights. Get that insight and knowledge, do the work, get trained, invest in yourself. A host of books, The Rich Dad, Poor Dad being one of those that helped her to see the light. Find that business coach. Doesn't have to be the most expensive person in the world, just someone who's accessible and who's trying to get it done just like you. Work on that mindset and use all of the tools. Facebook is a primary tool, big tool. We talk about that a great deal. Matter of fact, I have a copy of Charles Blair's book, One Step Closer to More, that I refer to frequently in doing that. But the lesson from a setback was pretty exciting as well. Understanding and learning that just because a person has made money doesn't mean that they're happy. Financial success does not guarantee happiness. Be mindful of the people you associate with. And lastly, look for sale by, and whether you do that on Zillow, Trulia, wherever you do it, just filter for sale by owners and make sure you're working with those motivated sellers. I should add that last tidbit nugget that you offered, which was drive around, get out of the house, look around. You found a deal just by looking in the window. Wow, Brittany, powerful, powerful stuff. Folks, you just heard again from Brittany Bowling, and this is Cliff McKnight saying, if you can't calm the waters, learn to ride the waves.
We hope you've enjoyed today's shows. For show notes, videos, updates, tools, and resources, plus free Real Deal Meetup membership, visit realdealmeetup.com, the place where it's awesome to be a guru and not a guru.